Hi, and welcome to Piano and Synth Magazine's guide to note intervals on the keyboard. It can be quite useful to learn note intervals, not only for examinations, oral tests, that kind of thing, but also if you want to begin to learn to play by ear. It's useful to be able to begin to learn what different notes sound like next to each other. And one way of doing that is to hear those intervals in songs and other melodies that you already know, and then put interval names to those. So there's already a guide on our website which has MIDI files that play the intervals for you. There are keyboard diagrams that show how the intervals work in the key of C major, and a list of various songs and tunes that contain those ascending and descending intervals. We're going to look at most of the intervals, both major, minor and perfect intervals, both ascending and descending. So let's start with a major second. Now really a major second is just the first two notes in any major scale, and so you're going to find a lot of examples of this, and it's quite easy to hear. If you think of the tune Happy Birthday, the second and third notes, that's your major second. You'll also find that in many other songs. A descending major second, if we think of Mary Had a Little Lamb, so that's your descending major second. A minor third ascending, if you think of the traditional tune Greensleeves, those first two notes, that's your minor third. You might also be able to hear already that it's the beginning two notes of Beverly Hills Cop. A minor third descending, if you stay with Beverly Hills Cop, it's the second and third notes. But it's also the first two notes of the Star Spangled Banner. So that's your minor third descending. A major third ascending, if we think of While Shepherds Watched Their Flocks by Night, the carol, there's your major third. Descending, if we think of the jazz standard Summertime, so you've got your descending there. A perfect fourth ascending, Auld Lang Syne, those first two notes. It's also the beginning to Amazing Grace, and the wedding entrance, Here Comes the Bride. So quite a lot of examples of ascending perfect fourths. A descending perfect fourth, Born Free. Or the second and third notes of the Christmas carol, O Come All Ye Faithful. Again, quite a lot of examples of descending perfect fourths. An ascending perfect fifth is the beginning to Star Wars. Of course, it would help if I could play the rest, but you get the idea. If you're more into the nursery rhymes, it's also Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. There's your perfect fifth up. A descending perfect fifth, beginning of the Flintstones. It's also the interval between the first and the third notes of the Star Spangled Banner. if you can hear gaps between non-consecutive notes, that's also quite good to learn from. So there's your perfect fifth descending. A minor sixth ascending. We can take the ascending and the descending together for the example of the first four notes of the theme from Love Story. There's your descending and your ascending together. Descending and ascending. A major sixth ascending. My bonny lies over the ocean. There you are, the major sixth ascending. In fact, this is where I come a little unstuck, looking for examples of descending major sixth. I'm sure there are plenty. And if you can come up with any, then please do leave a comment here or on the website. And also minor seventh and a major seventh. They're quite unusual intervals in themselves and are bound to be in songs, but not necessarily where it's easy. It's quite hard to hear songs and tunes that start with those intervals. A minor seventh may in fact be a little easier to hear. And descending. If you can think of songs that start with that or have obvious places, then please do let us know. A major seventh is really quite an awkward interval and not one that you're probably likely to hear very often. And descending feels a very uncomfortable, awkward interval that's not really particularly melodic in itself. But then of course we have the octave, which should be quite an easy one to hear. It's in the first few notes of Let It Snow. As you've got your octave ascending, and descending you've got No Business Like Show Business. The octave is usually one that's quite easy to hear. So there you go. With a few exceptions, there's some examples of most of the intervals that you're going to find on the keyboard.